This question is about how admission officers are testing for personalities, and I'd love to learn more from Dr. Grablik, who has been on the other side, who has been a college admission counselor, and to share more about what's your understanding on this, what you are expecting as a college counselor.
Well, something that Clint said earlier really resonates strongly here, which is uniqueness. And what sorts of things is it that an admissions officer are looking for? Well, through what a student writes and through what's written in the letters of recommendation, an interview, if that's part of the process, they are officers are looking to see what positive qualities a student is bringing, and also how that student will fit in the culture of a given school, how other students can gain from that student's unique perspective through experiences that student has had, through aspirations, goals that the student has. They're also trying to see, a lot of work that you're doing in college will be done in small groups. What role will they play in the group? Some people need to be the leader. Some people need to be the yeoman, carrying out and assisting with the bigger plan. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that should dictate what examples a student will bring in. And I did like the idea. I think it was Clinton also. June did mention that the unique, but also the epiphany or the reflection on your own goals. What was that special moment that you had that enlightened you? Aha, this is who I am. This is what I want to be. This is what really matters to me. And so personality is something that's really hard to tell, though, from what's on paper. So certainly a narrative, a story that can bring that to life is great. But I'll tell you one little secret that a lot of people don't know about and a lot of students can take advantage of is make a personal contact. If there are any opportunities to because I know that Ya spoke very nicely about how there are very few one-on-one opportunities in a lot of education for a student to make a one-on-one effort to get to meet someone who is going to be a professor with whom he or she wants to study, someone whose book the potential student has read, and show that a possible student at your school have some interest, specific questions, specific insight as to what's going on in this field. That person's going to stand out. When that person applies, when that student applies, it won't just be a name on paper with a lot of nice numbers. That will be a face. It will be a three-dimensional individual. And in fact, the professor the student sought out and spoke to will say, aha, when student Q, I'll just use generic Q, when student Q applies, look for that Q. Bring that application to my desk and I'll make sure it gets special treatment. And really, I mean, nowadays we're in a different set of circumstances for about the past year, but if students can make the effort to go and visit the campus, to take part in whatever opportunities for prospective students are there, and those things are publicized at the school's websites, what a wonderful way to show your personality, to show your individuality, to show who you are as an important person.
Yes, I totally agree. And I also noticed, like, based on our experiences for the past several years, and I feel like a lot of students, they focus a lot on getting the knowledge, getting the paper smart. They just want to put for example, how many APs. Especially yesterday, I had a interview with one of our students who got into Columbia University computer science major, and she took 21 APs. So literally that freak a lot of students out. That's like, oh, how am I gonna do? I'm still struggle with 10 APs. How am I gonna go with the 21, right? So it's just never about the number. So instead of focusing on the number, on the knowledge point, on the subject, the test number, I just really feel like we need to put a lot of inspiration into the students' head, you know? So when they have inspiration, when they have, some thought, some thinking about life, about their future, about their passion, so they do have things to talk about. So I think last week, 2 weeks ago, I started to brainstorm some common app with some students who concerned about their stories this coming year. And some of them, they just really feel like, they're having so many stories, they can't really decide which one to talk about. That was like, don't worry, you're gonna, you will be in good hands. You will talk to Clint and Dr. Grablade later, but the thing is, like, some students, they just stuck there. They couldn't even find one single story to talk about. You ask them about a frustration. I never have anything frustration. You ask them about like the drawback failure. I never feel it. Or some students like naturally very I would say STEM head, right? So they are just very scientific thinking, though they don't really have emotional appeal. This is something like really, torture me a lot. I want to dig out some like emotional contact with them. They just like literally feel like, I don't feel anything. Sad, frustrated, okay, so are your brain working like a robot? Yeah, you're robotic, like mindset? I don't know. So for those situations, it's just really hard to dig out a personality, even though I know he's just a genius for the STEM major, or he could be a genius. Well, if you're just a nerd, that's also a different way to show the personality that you're just a nerd personality. That's cute as well, right? Right, Dr. Revlik, what do you think about that as well?
I'm just reminded of back when I was doing graduate admissions a lot more. There was a student applying to law school, and per the same question, she said, "I'm the most boring person. I have nothing interesting about me," and that became the thing that she wrote about. That's what made her unique. She is so boring, and that made one of the most fascinating essays, funny essays that a lot of admissions officers ever read. So yes.
Yes. Okay, I agree. Yeah. So that's just to go back to the question. Okay. So I think maybe later Clint can share another question regarding like last year's essay. Like, what story make you feel like the students full of personality? What story make you feel like so dry? And how are we gonna work out that?
I have
Um,
something to add right here. I think one thing that an easy question to ask yourself. I use a method from screenwriting because I've worked as a screenwriter, and I've dealt with producers in China and America and India. And no matter what country I'm working with, they always work by the same rule. And this rule works for all of my students as well. If you think about yourself as the main character in the movie of your life, and you think about what makes a good movie, what every producer is looking for in a good movie is a main character that changes. So that's the first basic element. I can help all of my students identify a unique part of their life when they've changed. Some aspect of their thinking or their personality has changed, and from there you can build a very good essay that's going to show highlight some very important aspects of your personality.
I
Thank you
agree.
so much. Yeah. Yeah, I've also been on the college admission committee before, and I've interviewed several students. Let me share with you something from the education psychology perspective. When I'm looking into those students, I'm not looking at cutting edge school. I'm actually looking at their stories. I want them to tell me their story, to tell me their life. Storytelling is really important in the one-page paper they send to me. Most all the students sent to my table, they have perfect scores. How can I know them as a person? I want to listen to their story. I want to see their strong willing. I want to see their strong attitude. And let me tell you, if the kids cannot get decided, they cannot make the decision which direction they want to go, that's fine. I have admitted a PhD student into our program who said, I have perfect GPA. I have so many internships, and I even gap for 1 year. I still don't know what I should do. And I hope this program would help me out. And I learned the self-authorship theory. I know that I need to be the director of my own life. I hope this can be the answer. And we got that person because the building is so strong, and she keep calling everyone on the admission committee, and she really tried to get in here, and she did several campus visits. And then we can feel that from her word, from our interaction with her. That's also applied for undergraduate application. You don't need to be a well-made product. It's okay if you're not polished, if you're raw, if you're still trying to make a decision, that's fine. But you need to show the shining point. You need to show the strong will. If the kids cannot discover the power inside her, this is when we get in to try to dig the inner person out and try to help that person to express herself, who she is, who she really is.